Hello, I'm Roberto, and we are learning Rust. We also have here
Luciano, hello.
Luciano. If you don't know this channel, in this channel we talk about Rust and technologies. You can find a recording on the previous of previous stream on YouTube. And if you are watching us on YouTube, we are streaming every Monday around 6 p.m. Dublin time on Twitch. Today we are going on with our Axum little toy application where we are trying to learn Axum. Last time we added the two endpoints, one to save nodes, one to retrieve nodes, and we are saving the nodes in a map, in a hash map in memory, guarded by a mutex because we have multiple threads and we have to guard them somehow. But there is a better way of doing that, and we will show today that, and also today we will try to use SQLx to write to an SQLite database instead of having persistence in memory that obviously we lose every time that we restart the application. So, Luciano, what we have here? Our code, yeah, this is
Yes,
our code
I
on GitHub.
just shared the link there. Yeah, so people that are curious to see the code and tell us how terrible it is, they can do that. So let me share my screen and we can quickly go through the Axum documentation, because this is something that if you saw the last time we were trying to do this, which was a few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, I think.
A month or almost a month ago, yeah.
What we did, we were just literally copy pasting from Axum examples from the repository, and we kind of got something working, but we missed some interesting details. So if you really want to learn a little bit more of the foundational concepts of Axum, you should check this documentation here. I'm gonna actually put this one in the chat as well. Okay, so and one of the things that we glossed over was this concept of state, which let's check quickly our implementation. What we did was literally just use lazy static and then create a nodes, and this nodes is literally like a big hash map with protected by a mutex, because of course this is an application where you can have multiple threads, or in any case it's async, so you need kind of that concurrent access. So this is maybe not the best way of doing this, because Axum has a concept built in to deal with this kind of sharing state cross requests. So let's have a quick look on how to do that, which is here, sharing state with handlers. So apparently Axum has this concept of state extractor, and maybe we should clarify what an extractor is, or did we mention that last time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so let's look here at a very simple example. Is there an example?
Or we used them, but without telling that we were using them. We were just using them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I suppose we can look at our code instead. So for every API endpoint, let's call it this way, or for every endpoint in general, you can have parameters here, right? And they can be of different types. You decide what. For instance, here we have a body, which is just bytes. In this other one, we have a path ID, which is a path UUID. And in this one, we don't have anything. So the idea is that we could also have more than one. And it's kind of a lightweight dependency injection thing, where depending on the type that you specify here, you will have, in the context of the current request, access to a specific thing that you need from either the current request or the internal state of the web server. For instance, here, what we wanted to do is to say, I want to have access to a specific path parameter, which is going to be called ID, and it needs to be deserialized into a UUID. So basically what Axum will do for us, this is the extractor type that manages path parameters, is going to make sure that there is a path parameter, and it's going to give us access to that parameter in the form of this UUID type. So it's also doing some kind of validation, because if that type cannot that string cannot be deserialized to the UUID type, the request is going to fail, probably with a 400 type of error. So this is a particular type of extractor. In this other case, we wanted to have access to the body of the request as a stream of bytes. So we use this particular bytes extractor. And basically, this is another thing that we can get into the context of the current request. And there is another extractor, as we were saying here, which is basically the one that manages state. So where is it? State extractor. So basically, we could create a shared object. For instance, here they're calling it upstate. And it needs to be an IRC, so an atomic reference counting pointer that contains the upstate. And at that point, in a handler, you can use this syntax here.
So the state is injected in the handler at every request. And in our case, so we have to inject the hash map that should be mutable, but we'll see how to make it mutable.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the handler, that whatever is the injector mechanism of the extractor is going to take care of cloning, because when you use an IRC, you need to clone it to get a new reference. And that's basically counting how many references exist. And it's going to basically clean up the memory only when this arc goes to 0. So I am assuming here that Axum keeps one reference alive throughout the duration of the web server life. And then depending on how many requests there are, it's going to make sure to give you a new reference every single time. But I'm guessing that if you're curious to verify what I'm saying, you can check out the code of this extractor. So let's try to do this, actually.
In the meantime, I shouted to the chat, hello, WGAFA. Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I was on holiday.
Hey, WGAFA, good to seeing you. Thank you for always being consistent here, showing up and supporting us. Really means a lot. Okay, so what was I saying? We need to bring this state thing. So if I understand correctly, now I don't know, because here they don't make it mutable, so we might still need to have the mutex, I suspect. But let's see.
In this example, there is they don't do anything with this state. It's just there. Okay, yeah.
I don't think they do any mutation. So my guess would be that we want to do an arc mutex. So basically what we are going to gain is just that we are going to be able to remove lazy static and use a little bit of a more idiomatic approach for this framework.
Yeah.
So let's just, where do they define it? They create a struct called upstate. So let's do literally the same. Struct upstate. And what do we want there? We just want the nodes. No, let's not do the mutex here. Actually, this is interesting. I wonder if we could do...
If upstate can just be the hash map, you mean?
Well, we could do that with
an alias.
Oh yeah, probably upstate could just be the hash map. Yes. That's a good point. I think we just need here to say upstate, whatever that is. Even though they initialize here the state. So we still need to initialize the state.
The shared state, yeah, they initialize it there.
Okay, so let's do the same. In the main, so we don't necessarily need to create a new struct, I am assuming.
That's right.
In the main, what we need to do is to create this shared state.
It was in the main, that piece of code, or was outside of the main?
I am assuming that this is in the main. They are not really showing it, but I don't think you can write this code outside a function.
Okay.
So this shared state needs to be an hash map new do we need to specify the type? Arc, hash map. What was it? Was string? Was UUID string, right?
To string. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so what doesn't like? Do we need to import arc? Yes. Cool. And now here we can just say with state, right? Share state.
At the end of, okay, so that applies to all the routes that we added.
I actually am not sure whether makes any difference. We can try later whether
Okay.
it makes any difference. Oh, we also have Jocelyn Facchini here in the chat. Hey, how are you? I hope you're doing great. By the way, Jocelyn did an amazing workshop at Rust Nation UK, so thank you for that. If you want to share the link in the chat, I think people might find that useful.
Workshop on, just to be curious?
It was 4 different topics, like a full day. And if I remember correctly, was the first one on traits, then there was macros, then there was front-end Rust, and there was something else that I'm forgetting.
No, fine. No, it's interesting.
But
One day full of Rust workshop, you probably were very tired at the end.
Yes, but I felt like I learned a lot of stuff, so it was good. All right, so
okay,
at this
now that
point
we have it, we have to go in our endpoints and try to inject it in.
Exactly. So here we can do state and call it state of. Do we need to specify the type? I believe so, right?
Also, you don't have to put state around the state.
Oh, yes, yes, because that will do the destructuring. So, okay, let's copy this, and we'll need to change this type up state
to our hashmap type. Yeah, an alias that could have been.
Now, this guy, we can definitely do an alias.
Oh, well, but let's start simple.
Okay, so our type is this one.
Yeah, without this.
Okay, so now we should have access to the state. And I think this is where we are going to start to have problems because...
Yeah, because we want to write to this state.
Yeah, so here we have some code. So what we can do is... yeah, literally, let's just try to do state.insert and see what happens.
See what it complains about, yes. Like line 61.
Okay, now I expect that this guy is going to tell us, oh, maybe it needs to be mutable or something else. Cannot borrow data in IRC as mutable. Okay, is it giving us any useful suggestion? Okay, now let's try to change this into arc mutex. Actually, mutex was the other topic of the workshop, so definitely relevant for today.
So we do an arc mutex of the hashmap. Okay, mutex from Tokyo.
Right, I think we want a mutex from Tokyo because we are in a sync, I'm guessing.
Okay, the new there. Yeah.
Okay, we will definitely need to do an alias because this is insane.
This is getting longer and longer.
Okay, now of course we cannot do insert because we need to acquire the lock first. So we can probably
like
reuse,
we did, yeah.
We can probably reuse this one, but rather than using nodes, we can just use state. And I think everything else is going to stay the same. Cool. That seems...
He's not complaining. Nice.
That
so now we also
good.
have to change the get node because otherwise we are writing to a place and reading from another one, so it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. And which is here. So here we also want to do state. Actually, I am already tired of this thing, so I'm gonna do this thing. Let's just say type up state equal this, and now boom, and this, and do we need it somewhere else? No, right?
No, we need now in the
Okay, now we
get
can
node
copy this,
endpoint.
which is here, get node. So here what we want to do is again to get the
71,
guard
we are
from
getting
state, and everything else should be the same.
Nice.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask a question to Jocelyn just to see if he's paying attention. Do you think it makes any difference here if we drop the guard? I mean, it's going to be dropped anyway, but is it a good practice?
Complaining, so
we
no.
cannot even do it because it's borrowed. And so as long as we use the node, we cannot drop it, which is fair enough. So yeah, I think we'll need to live with the lock for the entire duration of the request, which is what I was trying to
avoid. Yeah.
Just to keep the lock for as little as possible. But do we do any clone somewhere here? We clone the message.
But note is giving you back a reference. So if you use the reference and somebody's changing, if you remove the guard, somebody could change that reference while you are using it. So yeah, makes sense that until you don't clone the message. Where do we not clone? We clone down there, yeah.
Yeah, I think we can put the drop somewhere else, but for now, let's ignore that.
After we clone the message, I think we can put the drop, but yeah, it's almost at the end, so.
Okay, now I think we can remove this lazy static, right?
Yeah.
And we can also remove this guy. And we need to start our server, which last time, if I remember correctly, we were doing with cargo watch run. So that basically every time we do a change, it's going to automatically restart our web server.
I trust your history.
It's recompiling everything because we did Rust update.
It's compiling everything because Rust.
Also because Rust, yes. Okay, it should be running. We trust that. We have Postman here, so we can do a new request.
Is this Postman or something else? Sorry.
It's Insomnia, which is similar. So basically we can do a post with a specific text that we want here to this endpoint. So what do we want to say? Is this going to work? Let's see. And so far it did work. Now we should be able to get this UUID, go to the get endpoint, use this UUID, and send. Nice.
Yay.
Seems to be working.
Nice. Yeah, we are not applying a lot of pressure here because we are not checking the multi-threading and everything else. We could write a siege test, but next time we can try to siege it with a siege.
Yes, and is that
or a
it?
locust.
Do we want to look into SQLx or do you want to try something else before?
I think we can try SQLx, but before that, I would like to have a commit.
Yes, good suggestion.
Because,
as usual.
Yeah, I want, probably not now, but when we have a siege suite, test suite, try to see the difference of requests per second with lazy static or with the state.
Let me remove lazy static because at this point we don't need it anymore. And now I can do a commit. Moved.
So I was saying, obviously, with cargo bench, I don't think we can simulate a real network traffic and stuff like that. So I would like to write a siege test. Oh, what's happening?
What did I do? Oh yeah, we had a new branch with enums. That's something else we were testing last time, right?
I have no memory of this place.
Okay, let's ignore it. But I think we were trying to test
Oh yeah. The enum
error
test was
responses. Yeah.
no, it was. Do you remember that we had to um, create different types for the responses, and we were not able to mix and merge them. And yeah, there was a test with enum to have just one response type that is the enum, and then you use an option or the other of the enum. But why is conflicting with your code? You're not doing your merge stuff.
I didn't
Main.
pull correctly. Now it should be good. So yeah,
We could also show that if we want.
yes, let's actually do that. So actually, let me show that here we have a to-do, like we are not handling errors properly. And also here, this message not found, what did we do?
Yeah, we do that shared JSON to value. We are
Oh yeah, we are always returning a
serializing
value.
manually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are serializing manually, basically.
And with that other approach, we didn't have to. So let me switch branch.
I think so. So if you switch branch, probably we can take a look.
Test. So this guy, let me see the difference.
There should be an enum declared somewhere.
Here, not or error.
Yeah, but naming is not easy. So yeah, that can be a note or an error.
So this is basically all the possible responses we can have.
Interesting here is line 26.
Line 26, sorry, above. Ser the untagged, yes.
Yeah, because otherwise with an enum, serd is adding a key on the top that could be note or error, and inside the other keys, ID or content. If you don't want this key above, you just want the single content of each enum, and you tell them apart based on the schema, you can use untagged there. There are a bunch of them untagged. There is, based on what you want, you can choose how Serd is serializing the enum.
Which I suppose untagged is going to be less performant on the serialization because it probably needs to figure out if the schema matches.
To figure out which is, but yeah. And then if you go to look how we used it.
How we used it is somewhere here. So we still return this dynamic thing, but at this point, we're still doing JSON here.
Yeah, but if you see the code between line 58 and 61 is just, okay, I will return a note. The note is an enum of type note, of note or error, but is the note enum with these fields. And then you do JSON note when you return it. So you don't have to do the share the value and all those kind of stuff.
I wonder if we can implement into response ourselves in this type, and then you don't even need to do this JSON here, just return the new note.
No idea.
But
instead, if you don't want
the
get, in the get instead, there is the same with note or error if it's an error, or note or error note if it is a note.
Yeah.
So all the code that was handling the share the value, and here and that is gone away, and this is a little bit more clear to write, I think, or also read.
Yeah, I think so, and also that the type is more descriptive because I don't know how bad it can get in real life when you have like a lots of different errors. Probably you'll need to figure out something else to abstract that. But I mean, this is more descriptive in my opinion.
If so if you want, it's working the same exact way from the REST point of view. So the endpoints are absolutely doing the same stuff. It's just that the code is a little bit more readable.
Should we look into SQLx?
Yeah, I'm curious about it.
Okay, so let me bring up the documentation. Actually, let me switch branch.
Go back to main. Yeah, so
we might merge this at some other point later.
Oh, now we should rebase because
Exactly.
this one is based on lazy static, obviously, but something that we'll do offline.
So SQLx, I'm gonna drop this link in the chat. Is this the latest version? It is. So SQLx is basically a library that allows you to interact with different kinds of databases, relational databases, and it's an async client basically for SQL databases. It's not an ORM, so you still need to write your own queries using SQL, which I consider that a good thing. Feel free to disagree with me.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, yeah, exactly. It's not a bug. And it's a little bit database agnostic because you can use Postgres, MySQL, SQLite, and MS SQL. Yeah, it can work with Tokyo and async STD. Of course, we are going to be using it with Tokyo because we are using Axum, which is based on Tokyo. And we are going to be using the SQLite just for convenience. But if you have another database, you can use that as well. Now, let's see. How do we even start? So we definitely need to install it. So I suppose we need to copy this. And we probably need to add the feature SQLite as well.
Yeah. What is the difference between Rust LS and native TLS? Well, the TLS is Rust based on. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
Yeah,
I don't have.
That is probably for Postgres with SQLite. You don't have to deal with network connections.
And I also heard, but not something that I test myself, that Rust LS is slightly faster than TLS native, probably just because here you have bindings. Here instead is like a native implementation.
Cool. But we also have to take as a feature SQLite.
Yes, so we'll need to copy this here, and we also need to add SQLite. Now, what's next? How do we even start to use this? Oh, by the way, there are like so many features here. You can even enable UUID, which may be something we want, but maybe it's only for Postgres. Chrono, which is like a date time library. So you can probably manage your own date times as Chrono structs. And a bunch of other similar stuff. So if you want to use like the JSON type, IP type, big decimal, you need to enable various different flags.
Require SQLs CLI installed to use what? Just offline or?
Let's see what this means. How do we install this?
I suppose.
Yeah, it must be some kind of cargo install. There you go. Supports all databases supported by SQLx. I think I like this one.
Yeah, cargo install SQLs.
This might take a while, 400 dependencies. While this is installing, let's see what we did wrong. Did we provide SQLite? Let's remove it for a second.
Is that already in the defaults?
It's still failing. What are we doing wrong there? The syntax looks correct.
Also to me. The version is still out there.
So if we remove that, is happy. So there is definitely an issue with this guy.
Is 0.6 the last version?
Failed to select a version, yes. So we'll need to be explicit and say,
okay.
Oh, that's a little bit of a bug there.
In the documentation.
Yeah, because if they just said this, I think this is going to work.
Yeah.
Is it?
No?
I thought so.
But choose 0.6 free, we are fine. There was a free.
Okay, there was a 3, yeah. Or there was. Of course not. 0.2, right. Close enough.
Sorry, my fault. There were 3 of them, so it's 0.2 of by 1 error.
Is it still complaining? Okay, maybe we are not understanding the error. Fail to select a version. Require package. Oh, required by package web server. Web server is the name of this project.
SQLx doesn't have the feature TLS Rust LS.
Okay, let's remove it.
But add SQLite at this point, otherwise they're not doing a lot.
So maybe just saying 0.6 was working. Let's see.
No,
let's make it working first.
Yeah.
Now it is building, so I think it's getting the right dependence.
Okay, so we can try to go back to 0.6, but give him a moment.
This guy is also still building, so my machine is like 100%. I hope that you're not going to see a lot of lag.
I hope to not see a fire in front of the web.
Yeah, or if you see fire, come and save me. Okay, meanwhile, let's keep reading here.
Can take a while. I will ring somebody.
Okay, so what are they saying? Examples on how to use Postgres.
Why there? The import is different? Oh, who cares?
This guy, this import?
No, the one above. One line above. Some lines above, but we don't care. Let's go on. Yeah, Tokyo SQLs 06, runtime Tokyo native TLS, and the database.
There is also Actix. Maybe that's what we needed.
But let's try with what we have now. Let's go on.
But we are not using Actix. We are using Axum. So I don't know why there is a specific thing for a web framework. Anyway, Actix is another web framework.
I think we have to specify a model of some kind for our structure in memory that will be again UUID to string. I don't think in SQLite there are UUID types, so we can do string to string and just don't care.
Yeah, we lose a little bit of validation, but it doesn't matter that much. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here there is an example with SQLite. Great. But it is memory. How do you do SQLite something? You just specify a path here?
Yeah, you specify SQLite typically 3 slashes, and then you provide a path. If you do 2 slashes, I think is a relative path. With 3 slashes, you can specify an absolute path.
Okay. So we probably want a relative path because it's going to be relative.
Yeah, let's do a relative one. Then we see where is created. Probably is relative to the folder you run the web server in, and not to where the web server is. But for now, we don't care.
Right.
So we have to create a connection.
I wonder where, because this is something that we will want to access in different handlers, right? So if it's another state thing.
To start with, we can create the connection
in the
handler itself every time, because SQLite is not a problem. It doesn't have a pool of connections. It's just a file on the hard disk. That's right.
Okay. Does it do locks in case of concurrency?
Yeah. In Write there is journals and locking, and we can have some locking problem. Let's see how it handles it on its own. Then,
okay. So let's see if this guy has finished. There is a warning there. Why is still complaining? Come on. One of the feature is required. I'm gonna go with this
runtime
one.
token 90. Yeah, okay.
So rather than this one, right? Maybe if I do the right quotes.
Yeah, sorry.
Stop complaining, please. This guy finished, which is good. Okay. If you're watching the video on YouTube, you can speed up now.
Every time Rust compiling, you can speed up. Yeah, I think the proper way.
Looks happy. Nice.
I think the proper way should be, like you said, Luciano, to inject, let me pass the terminology, in every handler the connection somehow. But for now, we can start stupidly creating the connection in the handler instead of creating it in the state and trying to pass it down. Then there should be a way, obviously, to make this smarter.
Okay, or do we want to just try in the main to do something? So when we start our application.
Okay, let's try to create the database, to connect to the database in the main.
Okay, so let's just do here something for now. Basically, we want to do something like this, but rather than being in memory, this needs to be imported. So you said that if we do double slash, I don't know, something data.db.
Yeah, now without remove the colon. Yeah, that was just for memory. It should create that file. I don't know if it's lazy or not. I mean,
no. Okay, let's just do a wrap here because whatever. Okay, at this point we have a connection. What else can we do?
just to start with, we can try to do a select one on top of the connection just to see if everything is working. So how do we run a query against the connection?
That's a good point. I think we need to keep reading. Okay, querying. So there are different ways: prepared, parameterized, or unprepared, simple. Prepared queries have their own query plan cached, use a binary mode for communication, utilities parameters to avoid SQL injection. So probably you want to use prepare most of the time.
Yeah, but in a production environment here, no, because so SQLs query, some query dot await.
But I suppose this is what we want to do. If you, I mean, this will support prepare queries or not. So if we do this, we want to do select one.
Select one semicolon.
And let res equal that.
Then there is a fetch. There is some kind of a fetch one. There is some kind of fetch.
Again, let's unwrap. I'm curious to see what kind of type do we get. So res is a SQLite query result. Why is complaining? Consider changing this to be mutable. Okay, fair enough. Cool. Okay. So
there is a fetch all, fetch one, fetch something on that res.
Let's see what we have. There is a try into rows affected. extend. There isn't a lot of stuff. So let's see what they suggest. I think, again, we need to keep reading the documentation.
I think the execute is for delete, insert stuff that don't return anything. Look if there is something like query or query as.
There is a query here, but I thought that execute was for prepare statement. Let me reread this because maybe I skipped something important.
Try to there
Okay,
is a query underline as. The execute finalize the return the number affected row, if any, and drop or receive. In addition, there are fetch one, fetch optional, and fetch all to receive results. So there should be fetch.
Why didn't give us a fetch?
Fetch one, because there is only one row in this.
Oh, maybe because this guy needs to be mutable to get fetch. Is it? No. It doesn't have fetch one. Interesting.
Yeah, but fetch one requires to know the type that it should fetch.
To receive results. Okay, let's try this one instead. Let's try this one with select one.
We have to await, okay.
No, still a SQLite query result, so the type doesn't change whether you use one method or the other. So what is the problem? The fetch query finalizer returns a stream-like type.
Scroll a little bit and let's see what is in that example, because SQL query fetch. The fetch is called after query. Where are we calling fetch instead?
Oh, I see. Wait, but do they use execute?
No, I don't see any execute there.
So fetch is an alternative to execute, basically.
It's alternative to execute is when you run queries that are not returning in theory anything and altering it, like
right.
delete, stuff like that. When you do a select, you have to use fetch if you want the result of the select.
So we can do fetch, and at this point, what do we get? Oh, we don't need to use await with fetch. That's surprising. Because you await when you start to consume. So fetch is actually lazy. Interesting. So this is literally giving us a...
Oh my god, what is that? A stream. It's a stream.
Yeah. Async stream. Bit scary.
Oh,
so here they're calling it rows, so that makes more sense. And now what we want to do is to say, as long as there are rows, so basically consume the stream and try to get a specific column.
Because fetch is for streaming. Instead, there is also fetch one that probably is not streaming.
Yeah, probably give us just a promise, so we can probably just await. Let's try that, fetch one. So this is probably just going to be a future, exactly. So now we can just do, we can probably just await here, line, and unwrap. So now it's a SQLite row. And what we can do with row is nothing. Here what they do is try get. And what kind of field do we have here?
Oh, do one as in the query. Select one as choose a name of the column. Yeah. Call one. Yeah, I don't know.
So let value equal row. Ooh, look at that. I
Try
like where
get as you. And what is the underline?
no method name try get found for struct row. Do we need to import something? Yes, we need to import this trait, most likely. Cool. So now we have a value. And at this point, we can
Try
do
to
print
debug this value. Print
value.
debug, yeah.
Now, if we go here, is it printing anything? Oh, I think we broke our web server.
Badly.
Why it's not exiting?
Try Control Z.
I did that. So now it's in the background.
Try to do jobs.
Okay, now we can do kill this
Kill
guy.
percent one.
With this?
Yeah. Try another time, please, because you must be. No. Still there. Okay.
No, still there.
Look at the PID. Do a kill -9 of that PID. Do you think the PID is 87.7? No, let's see what is the PID of this guy.
This guy.
Oh, 99519. Yeah, do a kill -9 of that one.
Why no such process? Is it always restarting it?
No, you got just the grep. You grepped the grep. It was the PID of the grep.
Oh, right.
I don't see the. Yeah, because it's not called like that, probably the process itself. Just do a PS aux, we can see.
Must be one of those, right?
87.766,
Yeah,
or
watch. That's the one.
87759. Yeah, it was the one from jobs. If you look at jobs, yeah, try to run jobs again.
There are no jobs.
Okay,
That's
we were
sad.
able to kill it.
There are no more jobs. Everyone is
Let's try
unemployed.
to let's try to run it again and see if we.
I'm just gonna do cargo run.
Yeah, without the watch, because obviously it has to compile stuff.
Yeah, probably got stuck because we changed dependencies.
It's not taking that very
Okay,
well.
it's
Or you can remove
panicking
the
where unable to open database file.
because it's not creating it. It wants it. Okay.
How do we
Do you have
create?
do you have an SQLite command line?
I think I do. There you go.
How you create? Add the SQLite free and the name that you choose for the database that I don't remember.
Is that the way you create a new database?
No command line is a lifetime that I don't create one, but put a name.
Data.db, I think I said.
Okay.
Is that it?
Do a dot scheme. Do a create a table A, and then you open round brackets. You put ID.
Int.
You don't need types. You can do just, I think, instead of ID, you can write something. Yeah, ID, int, or integer. Try integer. Semicolon at the end, and we are the other way around. No, you need the field name. You don't need the field name.
Or is the field name integer?
Probably now it is. Punto schema. Okay.
It's a table.
Okay, you can exit and see if you have the file now. .q, I think, is to exit.
Or even .exit.
Yeah.
There is a data.db. Cool. Now let's redo cargo run. it failed in a different way, unable to open database file. Is it the same way? Did I give it the right name? Data.db, what did we call it here? Data.db. Is this relative?
In theory, it is. Try to give in the absolute path, just to be sure.
So what is the absolute path?
Do a
PWD.
do a PWD there, so we get it. Yeah. Details, we can fix data. Yeah, free. Okay, this should be the correct way. If we don't have any version of SQLite problem,
SQLite error, code 14, unable to open database file. That's annoying.
a little bit. Okay,
Oh, is it maybe that we need another thing like this?
Where, sorry?
Another column?
Try. I don't think so, but it's not killing us to try. In the example,
That didn't make any difference. Let's look if they have an example with a file.
not in memory. Yeah.
So they only have memory there. Let's see if they have an examples folder. Examples. SQLite to-dos. This could be interesting. Source, main rs.
Or you can also say without slashes at all. SQLite, single colon. Where are you? I lost you. Oh, you are in another tab.
Okay, here they're using an environment variable with database URL. So we don't know exactly what they do.
Try to change in SQLite colon and just the name.
With one column.
Yeah, just one colon and just data. No, data, you have to keep it.
Like this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's try again. Different error. That's good. Address already in use. So I do have something running on that port.
Okay, but value is 1. If you see it debugged value 1.
Value is 1, yes. So it did fail to start the web server later.
Yeah, probably we killed very badly the other one, and the port is still zombie mode. Try to change the port to 5000.
For now, yeah, and we'll figure it out later.
I don't know on OS X. I don't know the command to get rid of a port. So, or you should restart the laptop probably.
No, I think there is a way to clean up. Anyway, now it's working. Value 1.
Okay. So the connection itself is working. Now we have to create a table with a key and a value, a model for that table, and somehow having SQL CLI creating the table for us.
With the migration. So let's go back to the docs.
Yeah.
So here they were doing something like this, and they do have migrations with some kind of schema there. So we can probably use the CLI to do something similar.
Okay, try to go in this example, going to do's. There is something called SRC.
Oh, look, it was here.
Nice.
So create the database. That's how we could have created the database.
You could create that from there and then migrate run.
Okay, so we probably need to export these to be able to interact with the CLI. So it's probably looking for this environment variable. Otherwise, how does it know which database to create?
That's a good question. Can you show me the code if there is something called model somewhere in the code path?
No, but I saw in the source that they were creating their own structs. There is only one file basically, but they were doing
there's
this.
only one file.
This is arguments. Is this the
Scroll,
thing?
scroll, scroll. Scroll, scroll, scroll. There is not any definition of scroll, scroll, scroll.
They have this add to do. This is just adding. Is there complete to do? Is there any list to dos? Okay, let's see how they do it here. They use this rec description and rec ID. So what the hell is rec record?
But that must be defined somewhere. Description is a field of the table, but I was thinking that being Rust, there should be some struct that backups the types of the object, right?
I thought so as well. Yeah.
If you scroll, there is nothing else here in this file.
I'm surprised here that it doesn't do, like it doesn't specify a type here. What is this pool? Pool is just a connection to the database, right?
Yeah.
Okay, which is done here.
Which we should do the same, okay.
Yeah, this is more of a CLI example. We'll need to make this available to every, like in our own state or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was expecting a struct to backup the description. No?
I think there is a way, but I'm surprised that this thing works without even that try mechanism.
Look, what is in the migration? Just SQL?
Yes.
I don't get how it works, but we can try to do the same.
Yeah, and there is no other file, right, that defines. There is no build script or anything. Okay, let's follow here. Let's do the same thing. So let's export. Actually, let's call it data.db.
Delete the one that you have.
Yes.
Yeah. So we get rid of our stupid table.
And now we can do cargo SQLx create. SQLx db create. It's not cargo. SQLx db create. And we have data db. No, it's not true cargo. It's like its own executable.
Okay.
Okay, now at this point we can do migrate run, which is not what we want to do.
Migrate run, we should have migrations before doing migrate run.
Exactly. Let's do run help. Create a new migration with the given description and the current type. So we can do
create a new migration with the given description and the current type as well.
Right? Okay. So this is probably going to create a file. Congratulations on creating your first migration, and it created this file. Did you know you can embed your migration in your application binary? On startup, after creating your database connection pool, add this thing. Okay, so this is going to run the migration as the application starts. So rather than having to do it with the CLI, you can do it with the application itself.
Yeah, makes sense, but
I like that it's telling you this thing here as you use the feature. Okay, so let's go here and create our migration script. So create table nodes, right? So what do we need?
We need ID, but in our case is a string primary key.
Yes.
we can use a varchar because we know that the UUID will be how many characters long? Some of them. And then we create the content as a text, yes. So it's bigger.
So this will be a varchar. Let's put 255 for now.
Yeah.
And then
And
the
then we keep
content,
content,
which is a text.
Yeah,
Do we want
text.
to keep created that and updated that? Does SQLite as this concept?
In theory, it has functions, but let's try to keep it.
Okay, so now we just run this migration, right?
Save the file, do...
Run, was it? Oh, it didn't like...
SQL migrate run, while executing near where?
This parenthesis.
Thank you.
Which one? This one? Or this one? Or this one?
Okay, I remove the created data. I think the syntax is slightly different. So. And remove the comma in line 4.
In line 4, yes.
SQLite is not... SQL in general is not liking it.
That worked. Yeah, so that was the problem.
SQLite fault.
Okay, we don't want timestamp.
Yeah, there is a way, but in SQLite, I think the name is different. It's like default or default timestamp, something like that. But who cares? Okay, we have our table now.
Oh, look how many things it's creating. Cool. Okay, so now we need to create the connection pool and add it to some kind of state, right?
Yeah.
So I suppose that we can change our own app state to be a SQLite connection, basically. And let's call it, what do we call it? Connection. And now we do this.
They were using an SQLite SQL pool option instead of using...
Actually, yes, let's copy that example from source main. So they were importing the SQLite pool, and then actually I also like this env thing. So I'm gonna copy all of this. So let's call it let mute pool. It doesn't even need to be mutable. I have a double let.
Yeah, because you're not changing the connection, you're changing...
So we need to import this guy. And we need to import env. And yeah, we can unwrap like there is no tomorrow because...
Yeah, let's be unsafe.
Because our main for now doesn't return any error.
You can comment the code that does the select one, probably just so.
So this is a pool SQLite. So here we can do the same, pool SQLite. Probably we'll need to import something. Import SQLx pool and probably import SQLite. Now what is it that you're missing? Connection is defined multiple times. Is it? Yes, because we are also importing it. Okay. Let's just call con.
Our connection.
Or
well, con is fine. State connection.
So we have the pool. We can remove all of this. We can remove all this row thing.
Yeah.
All of it.
With state pool. We can do with state pool.
So we can say we need to wrap it. So we need to
yeah, we need to wrap it.
Connection state or connection, well, state pool, whatever. It's going to be an app state of...
We need a mutex around it.
Arc new pool. Is that gonna work? An app state. What was
It's
app state? We call it
You called it con.
Do we care? We don't even need to specify it there. And here with state is state pool.
Okay.
Sounds good. Now it's complaining about those because the signature doesn't match anymore. So now this is con. Right?
Change also the variable name on the left if you don't care.
Yes, let's just call it
Pool.
pool and pool. Of course, we don't need to lock it anymore. But what do we need to do with it? We need to use the pool somehow, right? How do they use it here?
The pool is when we do the SQLx query, whatever, there is not the...
They just pass a reference to the pool.
Yeah.
So how do they use this to do? SQLite pool. So they do a SQLx query with this macro.
Yeah, and in execute, there is the connection that is borrowed.
Oh, pool acquire. There you go. So that's what we need to do.
Okay.
To get a connection. Okay. Now
here we are in the create. Okay, so we have to execute an insert.
What is not liking here? Probably this type cannot be converted. So again, I'm going to be using an unwrap here, but let's just do to do handle error properly. Now we don't have this anymore. We'll need to do a query, right?
Yes, instead of inserting, we have to do a query.
So how do we do a query? We can copy this guy.
I think this time is an execute for real. So it's an SQL query execute. You have an example, yeah. Execute in the connection. We have to change MB in the some parameters.
Doesn't need to import it.
It's a macro.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why it's a macro, to be honest. Now, description doesn't exist there. So what we want is insert into
nodes. How do we call it?
And we have to figure out an ID.
Now we have to figure out the name of the two fields that are ID, comma, content. It was.
What's it? Content. Let's check here. Content.
Checking the migration.
And now values is question_1 and
question_2, and then we pass two parameters
ID
that are
and content.
Our ID is called how is called our ID?
ID. Just ID.
Okay.
But why there is another ID here?
Because that is you copy and pasted that because you see last insert the row ID. This is our execution result. You can remove last insert the row ID in line 72. We don't need that one.
Line 72, we don't need this.
No, also 72 we don't need.
We don't need it, okay.
No, because that is needed when you let SQLite create for you the incremental primary key, but we are creating the primary key in the code with a UUID. We are not.
Database URL must be set to use query macros.
Sorry, what is that? But can we just use not use macros and use normal the normal execute?
I think so. Which was let me review from the README. Where did we have an execute example? There you go. SQLx query whatever dot execute.
Yeah, we have to do the query, and before the execute, we have to bind the two parameters, but it's not hard. We can do that.
Also, it's interesting that execute can take the pool directly.
Ah, okay.
You
Let's
don't
try
need.
to pass the. Yeah, so we don't have to do. Yeah, change
Let
it.
me try this. Right? So we want to execute this guy.
Yeah, we put just yeah, that there.
We need to do
change
bind.
To bind the ID.
Is it bind. A tuple now? I wonder.
No. I think you have to call bind 2 times.
Okay, so ID
dot bind the
body
content str
on. For whatever reason, we needed to clone it. And then execute pool, await, unwrap.
At this point, you don't need line 58 where you extract the connection from the pool. If he's doing that all alone.
It doesn't like this bind because it's a UUID. Is there a toStr string as str? Now it's happy. Why it doesn't like the pool? Consider the referencing. Oh, because it's already a reference. No. You want it's a reference? Wait.
Try to comment line 58 a moment.
Line 58. No, I think it needs to the reference. Ah, this is super annoying. So it needs to do this, I think.
But it's not the same as writing pool, sorry.
No, because pool is actually inside an arc. So when you use the asterisk, is not really the referencing. It's actually using the ref method of that arc, which is giving us the pool, and then we do a reference to that.
A reference to the pool. Okay, cool. I'm not sure there. Yeah, we can get rid of all of that. I'm not sure up there in line 63 if we have to do question mark 1 and question mark 2, or if just question mark and question mark, but I think it's the same.
Just okay.
We can try. I mean, let's try to insert stuff.
Okay, we'll need to update this one as well, otherwise this is not going to compile.
Right.
So here what we do, basically we do...
Here we do the select one with the fetch one.
We need to do the same. We need to do this. SQL query. The query is going to be different, right?
Yeah, the query is select content from nodes where ID equal question mark, I suppose.
And
then we have to bind. Then we have to bind.
Honestly, we don't even need anything fancy there.
So bind.
.bind ID
the
to string. What happened there?
Fetch Copilot one from the pool, await, unwrap. Yeah, cool.
Copilot went crazy. Okay, let row. And we have a SQLite row. Now, how do we deserialize a SQLite row?
In the example, they were doing row.content. I mean, I don't get how that can work. Let note equal to row.content.
No, we have column. Or try column.
It was not a try get.
That's, yeah. String usides, no. Why there isn't try get? I think this thing went crazy because we probably have errors somewhere. Okay, let me try one quick thing. So let's comment this one because we don't know yet how to handle the case where it's missing row dot.
What was suggesting?
Oh, there is try get.
Yeah.
So try get wants an index.
Okay, this content. Can you give a string called content?
Okay.
If you don't unwrap, what it gives you? Remove the unwrap at the end.
No, they will give you a result.
Yeah, but we are already ending a result
of unknown. So if we unwrap, because this can fail, like in the case the content doesn't exist. So here, let's just say we want to do a str. Okay, it's giving us a reference to the content.
Yeah, but it can fail if you see that we handle the is known and we give not found back. So a result is fine for us. Then we can just.
I think this is more the error that you do have a record with this fetch one. Then this column doesn't exist in that record.
Ah, okay. And if there are no rows?
Which we need to figure it out. That's why I commented it out.
Ah, okay. Cool.
Is this guy gonna fail or?
Is the unwrap on line 85 probably that we need to. Ah, okay.
But this can also fail because the query fails. So I'm not too sure how we know if there is a way to get the count of results.
Okay.
So let's do another to do here. Figure out how to check.
Because it can fail because our primary key doesn't our lookup key doesn't exist. But it's fine. So we handle that with a 404. Otherwise, yes. And content is already our message in line 98.
Yeah, exactly. So here we have content. Do we need to clone it?
Yeah, I think so because it's a reference.
Content to string. Okay, that's like cloning it because it's just allocating everything into a string. Okay, that should work, right?
But well,
we have a bunch of stuff we are not using anymore, so let's clean up.
It should compile at least. Then working, who knows?
We don't have a hash map. We don't need a mutex.
Still complaining of no? Okay.
Okay, I like that we are still using the UUID, so we still get the validation, but then when we save in the database, it's just a string.
Yeah, but it's a lack of the type in SQLite. I mean, if you use Postgres, it has the native UUID type, but obviously SQLite is a little bit simpler.
Oh, we have Emanuele in the chat giving us a huge praise. Thank you, Emanuele.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, we were a bit distracted with trying to fix our problems. We totally ignored the chat.
Okay, in the meantime, the watch, we didn't use the watch this time.
We didn't use the watch, actually intentionally, because I want to just see cargo run, and if it fails, it's not going to restart indefinitely. Okay, now this guy should be running on 5,000. So we go back to Insomnia, and we go into post 5,000, and we say, I don't know, hello from SQLite. SQLite, like the pros. This is going to live forever on disk.
And everything capital because real men write in uppercase.
Exactly. And it didn't fail. I am impressed. Now, if we try to get, we need this UUID.
Yeah, and the right port.
And the right port. Good one.
Because we changed the port because we crashed badly the previous server.
Ooh, it seems to be working, but because I don't
Now,
trust myself, I'm gonna stop this guy and I want to query SQLite manually.
yeah, go SQLite free and the database name. Yeah. Dot
Select
schema.
asterisk
Exactly.
from nodes, right?
Yeah,
Amazing.
it's there.
It's working.
Yay. Now we could create an endpoint to get the list of all the nodes in the database. That is not a
Okay.
fetch one, but is a fetch whatever. But we can do that next time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we are on time because we have been streaming for 1 hour and a half, but we know what to do next. We also have a bunch of to dos. We need to learn how to figure out if the record
Yeah.
exists or not. So I think we still
So
have a
let's
lot to explore.
okay, let's wrap it up then. You can find the recording on YouTube. The link is in the Twitch in the About section. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do live streaming on Twitch every Monday at 6 p.m. Dublin time. Make sure to check the Twitch link in the YouTube description. Give us a follow so that you can be notified. Feel free to leave any comment, open pull requests, tell us that we are not able to write code, everything. Everything is well accepted. We are trying to learn Rust, so don't expect our solution to be beautiful, but sometimes they work. And if you know better ways of doing stuff, tell us. Thank you for the people in the chat and the chats and the suggestions or everything. Thank you for everything. So, do you want to rate somebody, Luciano?
Oh yeah, I didn't even check who is streaming right now. Oh, we have
Some.
TJ that is probably streaming about Vim or maybe even Rust. So I think you can enjoy TJ because he's an amazing streamer. So, well, 10 seconds while the raid starts. Please bear with us. Don't leave. Don't leave.
So, thank you, everybody, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.